Boxing truth here. Alright, let's talk about this full unification bout between Julius Indongo and Terence Crawford. It's a good fight. It's not the best fight of 2017, but it's a good fight. It's a significant fight. It's an important fight, sure. This is actually an interesting fight. You got Indongo, who's a big junior welterweight, southpaw, brings some power to the table. Now I'm going to finally see some answers from Terence Crawford compared to the opponents he's been fighting. But Julius Indongo is already up against it. And in my opinion, he'll have to knock out the protected Terence Crawford in order to get a victory on August 19th in Omaha. He's as high as an 8-1 dog. Terence Crawford is as high as a 15-1 favorite. Those numbers are a little surprising, but to me, it has nothing to do with the ability of both fighters against each other. It has to do with Crawford being the A side, the protected American fighter fighting in his hometown with the major promoter and top rank. And Indongo is the B side coming in, perhaps coming in pretty much to sell his belts to Terence Crawford, make him a bigger star. And this is a case where this is just a stepping stone for Crawford in order to gain bigger stardom, which is why he hasn't been able to get the Manny Pacquiao fight. It wasn't that Top Rank wouldn't let Manny fight him. It's just that he didn't bring much to the table in order for Manny to fight him, which is why he was passed over by Jeff Horn, who brought something to the table, unlike Terence Crawford. But you look at this fight, you look at the odds. I don't see Julius Indongo as an 8-1 dog. I mean, from what I see looking on the outside, Indongo to me is the best opponent Terence Crawford has fought in terms of, his physical stature. He's coming off a lot of momentum. He's kind of red hot right now. He's going to be coming in with sky high confidence. He's got the physical dimensions to compete with Crawford, and Crawford's going to have to use a different style in order to beat this guy. Indongo's awkward. He's got power in that left hand too. This is not going to be, I don't see it as an easy fight for Crawford. I see it as a test. And it's a test that's going to, provide some answers of whether he is this one of the elite fighters in the game. Him beating Julius Indongo doesn't make him among the elites, in my opinion, but it gets him closer to that stratosphere that everybody in the boxing world seems to already put him on that pedestal. They already got him in that position, even though he hasn't done jack shit and really to really have that position. You just look at the opponents, he just doesn't have it. He hasn't dominated any divisions as of yet. He picked up vacant straps, won one belt in the lightweight division, then moved up. Fought a couple of guys. I mean, he has to do more. He needs to improve. He needs to impress me more. He needs to make a statement in this fight. If he goes in there and trashes Indongo within 4 or 5 rounds, or just completely dominates him and makes Indongo quit, then that really would provide me some more answers about Terence Crawford. I mean, Indongo is better than John Molina, more dangerous than Felix Diaz, much better than Hank Lundy, better than Derry John, better than Delorme. He's a bigger guy, more awkward guy than Beltran. Beltran was probably the best guy Crawford's fought thus far, besides Victor Postal, who pretty much was not allowed to get. He wasn't fighting Crawford on an even playing field, and that's probably what's going to happen with Indongo. He's going to be fighting on an uneven playing field, which is the main problem with boxing right now. Even though we're getting all these fights, we're getting all these big fights. So, a lot of them have been fucked up by the officiating, the judging. This needs to stop. We need to find a way in order to get some satisfying results. Low blow stoppages, bullshit scorecards, bad officiating, not enforcing the rules, corruption. And, I just hope that the next true big super fight this year, which is happening in September, gives us a definitive outcome. And I would like a definitive outcome in this fight. No controversy. Could end up being a controversial fight because I think Indongo's a live dog. I'm not going to count him out. He's coming off a lot of momentum. He's an opponent that I haven't really seen Crawford fight really, in terms of his style, his physical, physical traits he brings to the ring. He's taller than Crawford. He's longer than Crawford. And Crawford's going to have to use a different style. But Indongo, he's an 8-1 dog because he's in Crawford's hometown. And he's going to have to knock him out. The fix is in, from what I can see. Crawford has to just make it competitive, make it close, and he'll get the decision. So Indongo's got to go in there and do a job on Crawford. He's going to have to knock him out. That's the only way I see him winning. No way he's going to get a decision in Crawford's hometown. But this is not a bad fight. It's a good fight for Crawford. It's a step in the right direction. And if he wins, hopefully moves up to the welterweight division. Look for some more marquee matchups instead of unifying against not the biggest name opponent. A good fighter in Indongo, but not the type of fighter that's going to really prepare Crawford's star power. But if Crawford wins, I wouldn't mind seeing him watching him fight Jeff Horn if the Pacquiao rematch don't happen. That would be an interesting fight. But first things first, let's see how Crawford does with Indongo, who I believe will provide a test for Crawford and perhaps be upset-minded enough to have the ability to perhaps maybe knock out Crawford. He's got a good left hand. He's coming off solid victories. These guys are pretty much the same in terms of who they beat. They've beaten the same type of fighters. B- level, barely B level guys. And now they're going to test each other's skills against each other to prove who is better between the two. You look at Crawford's resume, you look at Indongo's resume. The quality of fighters they've beaten is pretty much the same. When you look at Indongo's last two fights, is Ricky Burns, Tronowski any better than the guys Crawford has beaten? You might say a Postal, but they're pretty much around the same level, around that B area. Postal just never had a chance to win the fight anyways. He was pretty much not going to win. It was already stacked in Crawford's favor. But, hopefully Indongo gets a fair shake with the officials, gets a fair shake at Crawford, a fair, even playing field. Trying to stay optimistic with this fight game. A lot of big fights, but man, a lot of unsatisfactory results. Even the Joshua Klitschko fight, the only good result we've had in terms of the big fights so far was Kell Brook versus Errol Spence. That was a definitive outcome. So, moving forward, hopefully we don't just get the fights, but we get the results that the fans want, satisfactory results. August 19th, Indongo, Crawford, full unification. First full unification bout in quite some time, in over a decade since Jermaine Taylor, Bernard Hopkins. It's a significant fight. We're finally going to see who's the better between... We're finally going to get some answers from Terence Crawford. A test from Indongo. They've pretty much beaten the same level of opponent. And now we're going to see who's better between the two. Not a bad fight. It should be an interesting fight. Crawford will be dealing with awkward style. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.